August 2024 by 4 hooded men at a barber shop in Embu Town. Mwangi's sudden reappearance this morning at his family home in Majengo was met with tears of joy, ululations, and deep sense of relief. Despite the overwhelming joy of reunion, it was clear that Mwangi had been through the terrifying experience. His father, Gerald Karisha Mwangi, could not hold back his emotion as he reflected on the anguish they had endured during the 2-week search of their son.
Furaha ambayo mpaka saa hii we have not recovered from that happiness because it was really a trauma, but now that he has come, hiyo mambo yote shida na nini, let us just keep it behind us. Piga kelele mpaka ikasikika na ikaweza ya kwamba tumempata Billy akiwa hai. Na of course kwanza ni kushtumu with all the strongest ones possible, the abduction, the abductors and anybody engaged in this shenanigan of kidnapping our son.
Meanwhile, Peter Motete was found in Nairobi's bustling central business district, but witnesses described him as disoriented and struggling to process what had happened. He is now recovering at home. Ronnie Kiplagat, whose case had initially left his family desperate for answers, was located in Machakos County, far from where he was abducted. Similarly, Bernard Kavuli, who was seized in Ngong, was discovered in Kitale. Both men faced immense challenges reconnecting with their families, underscoring the confusion and fear that accompany such disappearances. As the crisis deepens, the call for justice and accountability grows louder. The return for 4 victims offers a glimpse of hope, but the experiences are part of a much larger troubling pattern that activists and citizens alike are demanding to be addressed.
Be the last people to go through that ordeal. Na mimi, I want to take this opportunity to say we are even going to look at how we can change our laws to ensure if such a thing happens, the government first stops, because one of us is all of us.
Martin Masharia for EBN TV.
Well, indeed, great news for the families. Meru County's new year began on a politically charged note during a covenant service at MCK Chabwene Church in North Imenti, and the event graced by Youthful Water Cabinet Secretary Eric Murithi as the chief guest became a platform for fiery exchanges and political undertones. The service took a contentious turn when Mary Muthoni, a UDA-nominated member of parliament, alleged that the government had no role in the recent spate of abductions, suggesting they might be politically staged for mileage. Her remarks, however, sparked discontent among the crowd and fellow politicians. A Bogeta West member of County Assembly, DMK Kiogora, condemned the government for the ongoing abductions, calling for adherence to the rule of law rather than resorting to abductions and torture.
We are not sure. I'm not exonerating anyone from abductions, but I want to say without any fear of contradiction, the government cannot be part of killing children of people. Hiyo sio kazi. Hapana, hiyo sio kazi ya serikali. Yes, najua. Aya, nimewasikia. Ngojeni nimalize. Na ninamalizia nikisema hivi.
My friend, kama ni yeye anafanya, kwani hamna nguvu ya kumshika? Na muende kwake, kama ni nyumbani kwake ameficha vijana, mtoe. Msitubebe wana bwana. Msitubebe ujinga. We know what is going on. We are not foolish. Kwa hivyo mambo ya kushikashika vijana hapa italeta serious dissent in this country. We cannot go back to the dark days of the Moi era when people used to be jailed at the Nyayo chambers. Na watu wanapigwa. Na watu wanauawa, watu wanamemiwa. So we cannot go back to those days. We must condemn it, no matter who is doing it. We must condemn it. Nata Inspector General Police, ukiambiwa wetu wa vijana, you cannot tell us you don't have intelligence of who is kidnapping young people. Kwa hivyo msitubebe ujinga ati ni Gachagua anafanya. Kwani Gachagua akona prison kwake nyumbani mahali anajeli watu. Na kama akona, ingieni huko mtoe hao vijana. Cheni kutubeba ufala bwana. We know these things.
Hatuko sawa kwa sababu ndoto za viongozi wengi vijana za kisiasa waheshimiwa wa Meru County Assembly ziko at the verge of diminishing kwa sababu ya uongozi ambao si wa kiungu, uongozi ambao hauheshimu katiba ya Kenya.
Civil society groups and a section of Kisumu residents have condemned the government over state-linked abductions of its critics and stifling of the freedom of expression in the country. Speaking at a different location in Kisumu while avoiding confrontation with the contingent of police that are on standby at the Oginga Odinga Sports Grounds where they planned to address the media and later on proceed with demonstrations, they have castigated the government and its sympathizers over what they term as blatant disregard to the Constitution. They're now demanding an immediate stop to reckless remarks by leaders aligned to the government, release of all the abductees, publication of a list of all abducted, legal prosecution of those responsible for the abductions, waived bonds and bails to those that were arrested during demonstrations, compensation and treatment to post-protest and abduction victims.
I have a message for Ruto. I have a message for Duale.
You are not elected to come and protect governments who are torturing the citizens of this country. I want to tell people like Junet Mohamed, you have to understand that you are not in the government. You are elected because you are in opposition. Yes, opposition. Secondly, I want to tell Joe, Kenya elected you because you are fighting for the right of the people. But as we speak today, you have turned out to be a puppet of the government. We want to remind you that we cannot sleep, we will not sleep, and therefore we will also view you as the enemy of Kenyans.
The safety and well-being of all those abducted remains our priority, considering that the abductees are being held outside of the protection of the law. The nature of abduction resembles raids carried out by government security agencies during the attempts to deal with the Gen Z protesters. Our collective pain as people is therefore directed at the government of the day, especially the National Police Services, for failing to protect Kenyans and the selective application of the law.
Reparations for all survivors and compensation for families of victims of this violence be rolled out. The state should also, with immediate effect, take up the treatment costs until full recovery for all those who need medical attention from effects of post-protest. An immediate stop to reckless remarks by leaders, especially from the leading parties who have polarized this country, branded any dissenting voices as anarchists.
Article 33 of the Kenyan Constitution provides for freedom of expression. And the only limitations to this freedom are explicitly guaranteed in the same Article 33. So we are really dumbfounded that a president can be so trivial with his rogue regime to the extent that they are abducting, killing, maiming citizens who are expressing their frustration, whether artistic or otherwise.
Now, the Catholic Church has called on the Kenyan government to address the issue of abductions and provide answers to the public. Bishop Alfred Rotich of the Catholic Diocese of Kericho reiterated this plea during the opening of the Jubilee Year of Hope in his diocese. He appealed to the government for mercy and clemency, urging that the country's political challenges be addressed through dialogue. The bishop emphasized the need for the government to utilize its resources to give Kenyans the clarity and answers they seek.
The politics, the way we live in our country is a result of the mess in our politics. We have taken it to be what we call auctioneering. But if it was really to serve the people, there is a process, and those processes have been provided by the Constitution. So let us not be afraid. All I am asking now, even if they are alleged abduction, as a church, we appeal. I am not going to go into the depths because the government have the tools to research And if there is a cry from whatever corner that there is a Kenyan, not only in abduction, but every Kenya, a Kenyan citizen, the government ought to take care of that, to provide the dignity, to provide all the means possible to secure that life. The government has the right, has the what it takes to provide security to his own plan. I wish to appeal that they too have mercy. I wish to appeal that there will be a clemency also in terms of if there is any wrong. If a country, if people are always making mistakes, we have a place where we can take them and to use all the means, like the right steps on the structures of government in order by way of following the law. So I want to appeal that we use this opportunity and to ask Kenyans that yes, when we ask this question, ask them truthfully, identify, report them, and then look at the instruments that government has provided, and if it is not adequate, continue to press, but in a way that is not destroying life, because no two wrongs can make a right.
Cabinet Secretary for Education Julius Migos visited several schools in Kajiado County to assess the situation as students prepare to open the school for the first term of 2025 beginning Tuesday, 7th of January. Migos has said that the Ministry of Education is trying to establish strategies to ensure that students who join grade 9 continue with their studies without worrying. Migos say that among the strategies that the ministry has put in place is to ensure that there are enough classrooms with teachers and books.
A program of ensuring that we have the infrastructure in place, including the construction of the 16,000 classrooms that were required to allow the transition to be smooth. As a ministry, we've managed to do a total of about 14,500 classrooms of those 16,000. That is together with the ones that we are partnering with the national government CDF programs. And this means that we are almost over 90% of the construction. So we came round to confirm that these classrooms have been done, and we are going to continue going around to check, even in those areas where classrooms have not been done, what arrangements we are put in place to ensure that the transition is smooth.
Kama mbunge, mimi haja yangu ni kuona kwamba watoto wangu wote wako ndani ya madarasa na kupitia NGCDF na usaidizi wa Ministry, State Department of Education, we will have all the classes. The only challenge I'm appealing to them is that the issue of desk is a problem because they were not factored in. Na nafikiri hiyo ni muhimu. Tukifanya supplementary budget, we budget for lockers ili kila mtoto apate locker yake, kwa sababu kuambia mzazi arudi kwa mfuko huenda itakuwa ni shida na uwezo wao. But I'm also appealing to parents, let us partner together where possible. Kajiado North has 8 giant schools ambazo zimepata madarasa 8 kwa sababu ya population ile tuko naye. Na ndio tukiambia watu kwamba.
Well, at the same time, the Ministry of Education has announced that it is experiencing anomalies as it prepares to roll out the first grade 9 cohort. Speaking on Monday, Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang stated that there are fewer classrooms to accommodate the learners and it will have to improvise to ensure that the ministry doesn't disrupt learning. Kipsang noted that some classrooms will be congested for 30 days as the ministry works on constructing more, and said so far that about 13,500 classes have been completed out of the required 16,000. The ministry is also constructing 11,000 classes, while the remainder will be built with the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Kitty.
And saying that we domicile junior school in primary school also gave us an opportunity, and it was a better and cheaper option because it meant we were only going to create and build facilities for only one class, grade 9. Because if we are domiciled it at high school, then our current senior school is having 4 classrooms. That is Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and Form 4. So if Kenyans had said we domicile in senior school, then it would have meant building 2 extra classrooms in that particular environment. When we did an assessment, we realized that we needed 16,000 classrooms to be able to settle our children in grade 9. And when we looked at resources, looked at the way that we were going to do it, we engaged with our members of parliament, the National Assembly. We told them that we wanted to partner in developing classrooms. CDF has done for us 3,000 classrooms, which are ready and available for use. There are still another 2,000 at various levels of development. We at the Ministry of Education, as of this morning, we have done 10,500 classrooms ready out of the 11,000 that we were to do. I want to also confirm that across the country, we have distributed 9.9 million books to our schools for all the learning areas on a ratio of 1:1. Any school that has not received books is not because books were not available. It is because maybe on the day that the books were being taken, either because the schools were closed, there was nobody to receive the books, but the books have been printed. All the teachers, the 20,000 that were taken in for internship as additional teachers, the 46,000 teachers who are converted to permanent and pensionable, they already got their posting and confirmation letters. As you are aware earlier, we had upgraded more than 10,000 teachers who are teaching in our primary schools. There is an assessment that they have already, an additional number again will be upgraded. But as we talk now, we have more than 80,000 teachers who can teach at our junior schools.
It is a victory for NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua after the Ugandan Law Council handed the politician cum lawyer a temporary practicing certificate on Ugandan jurisdiction. This is after the Law Council convened a special meeting on Monday to reconsider her application after it was initially rejected on December 6th of 2024. The approval means that Karua can now represent Uganda's opposition leader Kizza Besigye in an ongoing case in Uganda's court-martial. Following the granting of the practicing certificate, Karua will be able to represent her clients on the Ugandan soil in court effectively starting January 7th of 2025. To practice in Uganda, Karua was required to lodge a formal application since she is from a different legal jurisdiction. At the same time, Embu leaders and residents have condemned the growing culture of political intolerance that has been witnessed on several occasions where leaders have been heckled in public. The remarks come in the wake of heckling of President William Ruto 2 months ago when he graced the ordination of Embu Diocese Bishop Peter Kimani and blocking of reading of eulogy from President by Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi during the burial of former Senator Lenny Kivuti's son on Friday. They say the trend, if not stopped, will taint the image of the country, and scare away potential investors as well as derail critical development projects. Speaking to the press, local leaders urged residents to embrace civility and hospitality, arguing that booing leaders only tarnishes the county's image.
Watu pia uliona walikataa speech ya president kusomwa. Hiyo mambo tumeyaona pia mahali kwingine. Kuna mahali pia walienda kusoma huko kwa Kangata, pia tukaona wamekataa. Hiyo naona inafaa kwanza imwambie president ya kwamba ground ile alitayarisha ule wakati bado watu wanaigoja. Ground haijafika mahali watu walitarajia president. Delivery yake haijapatikana. Maisha ile ilikuwa ni ya mama huyu wa mboga na huyu mtu wa bodaboda, bado hiyo maisha wananchi hawajaifeel. What the president should know is akiona ya kwamba hapa Embu mahali alikuwa yeye alikuja akasema wakati nilikuwa napiga siasa nikisikia nimefinyika kabisa nilikuwa nakuja hapa Embu. Sasa akiona hiyo Embu hiyo iliyokuwa inampatia mahali pa kulala na iliyokuwa inampatia maneno ya kumtuliza, hiyo Embu sasa ndio iko kabisa imefinya kabisa. The president should know that yeye mwenyewe akae chini ajiulize ni nini anafanya kisichotakikana na wananchi.
Sisi tukiwa wakaanji wa hapa kwetu Embu na tukiwa wazaliwa wa hapa, sisi ni watu ambao tunaheshimu serikali sana. Hata ukisikia kuna watu wanakuja kuleta makerere, ni mzuri muwe mkijua hawa watu wanakuanga important, ndio wakuja kuleta nini political strife in this county.
They were the same leaders who organized the shouting down of the president during the inauguration of the Catholic bishop. Na hawa viongozi tunafaa tuambie ya kwamba we elected them so that they represent us at the table where development is shared, not in corners where violence and disrespect is organized. Na tunataka kusema hao viongozi hatutakubali tena ya kwamba hapa Embu tutakuwa tunapanga maandamano, tunakuwa tunapanga vita ya kumtusi rais yule ambaye tunamtegemea atuletee maendeleo. It is unacceptable that leaders who are elected to represent us, leaders that are elected to bring us development, are the same ones that are bringing us down.
A section of church leaders in Siaya County have called for peace and unity amongst Kenyans in the year 2025, while condemning the kind of altercations witnessed between leaders during the burial of National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula's mother on Friday. The church leaders, led by Archbishop John Odinga Omwonya of the African Church of Trinity, Kenya, stated that Kenya needs peace. The Archbishop has called on President William Ruto to ensure that Kenya is peaceful and united, saying that as a symbol of unity, the head of state must now come out strongly to unite all Kenyans for the sake of peace and prosperity. He also challenged the president to stand true to his words and ensure that the issues of abductions and unclear disappearances of innocent Kenyans are stopped once and for all, as he had promised towards the end of 2024.
Tuweke amani ya nchi mbele, ndio maana tunaomba leo Mheshimiwa Rais Bwana William Ruto, umekuwa ukitembea Kenya, juzi tumeona umefika Siaya. Tunaomba kila mahali umeenda hapa Kenya, tunataka amani ihubiriwe kuanzia na wewe na mawaziri wako wote, kila mtu mpaka hapa chini, kwa sababu bila amani hatuwezi pata maendeleo. Cha pili ni kuwa tumeona hapa nchi wazazi wanalia, kuna watu wanashikwa, haswa vijana wamekuwa wakishikwa, wanapotea hivyo na miili yao inapatikana wamewawa. Atungependa hii jambo iendelee mbele, na vile umesema juzi kwamba utakomesha kitu yenye unakomesha ni kitu unajua. Na Mheshimiwa Rais, tunaomba kama ni kitu unajua, tafadhali tunakuomba ambia wenye wanafanya hilo jambo wasimamishe na iwe mwisho kabisa, kwa sababu uwezi kama mzazi ukae kwa nyumba yako upate mtoto wako amepotea na uwe na furaha. Ni jambo mbaya sana. Tunaomba hii kitu ukomeshe kama rais wa nchi. Kuna mashule zinaenda kufunguliwa, wazazi wanalia, pesa hakuna. Hata wewe kama rais nimesikia ukilia na waziri wako wa fedha kwamba uchumi ilikuwa mbaya, lakini mnajaribu kuitengeneza. Vile mmelia ndio vile sisi pia wazazi tunalia hapa chini. Tafadhali muongee na wakuu wa shule, hata kama mzazi hana nini, ana kitabu, mtoto hana kitabu ama uniform, haruhusiwe aingie shule aanze, tutaleta pesa pole pole. Ni haya ndio ningependa kuomba na sina mengi sana.
Ludhiambo Juma, the Secretary of the Africa Church of Trinity, Kenya. The Secretary of Africa Church of Trinity, Kenya. I stand here that we are today celebrating the new year 2025. I would like to wish the government that we as a church, we announce peace, and peace is everything. If you even have peace in the house, you have peace everywhere. So, to the politicians, when they are even coming to the churches to contribute or to donate harambe to support our churches, let them come with peace and not to see all this we are seeing. People throwing chairs up and down. That is not peace. And for the politicians, let us wait until 2027.
Uasin Gishu County Governor Jonathan B. said the shortage of drugs has been addressed, encouraging residents to utilize health facilities during the flag-off of medical supplies consignment worth 54 million shillings from the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, KEMSA, for distribution across 138 healthcare facilities in the county. Governor B emphasized the importance of the supplies in enhancing healthcare as the county begins the new year. He reiterated his administration's commitment to improving and completing health facilities across all sub-counties, aiming to bring quality healthcare closer to residents.
And I think the idea we had last year was every truck like this carrying drugs must be escorted by an official from executive, so that we will have a CBC or a CEO. Then the people took on a dawa. Kuna hivyo sema kuna dawa. Sikusikia hakuna dawa. So you guys are msemi ukweli, sema kuna dawa. Whatever dawa is there, ni dawa ni. As we plug all this, I'm very happy that our hospitals, other facilities, especially sub-county hospitals, are coming up. And I want to assure you that whatever we are doing for the people of Western Mission and for the glory of God. Do you have an idea that we are coming up with a diagnostic center here, and we have put 200 million to start off? Just here. We want to make this place, very enviable. The same way we did for Mama Rachel Maternity Hospital.
Kenya's economic transformation depends to a significant extent on growth in value addition of raw materials and expansion of manufacturing across key value chains. The government is establishing the Kenya Leather Industrial Park in Kenanie, Machakos County, as one of the interventions for value addition and manufacturing to push the annual contribution of the leather industry from the current 15 billion shillings to 175 billion, and industry jobs from the current 17,000 to 100,000. A common user facility of effluent treatment plant to treat water for manufacturing leather is already complete. The effluent treatment plant will clean effluents from the EPZ factories on Mombasa Road and Athi River and from the leather factories at Clip.
Mradi huu ukikamilika utaongeza nafasi za kazi kwa vijana wetu ili wale ambao wanahusika katika idara hii ya mambo ya ngozi na viwanda vinavyohusu ngozi, nafasi za kazi zitaongezeka kutoka 17,000 kwa sasa mpaka 100,000 ili kubadilisha idara ya ufugaji na kuongeza pesa katika mifuko ya wananchi. Tutatengeneza kiwanda ya kutengeneza ngozi, ile ngozi ambayo inatokana na mifugo wetu. Hiyo ngozi itakuwa inaletwa hapa, na ikiletwa hapa itakuwa inafanyiwa utaratibu ili iweze kubadilishwa ikuwe vifaa kama viatu, mishipi na hata begi za kubebea bidhaa.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we wrap it up tonight. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're up to date with what is making headlines across the country. It is just about 31 minutes past the hour mark, so allow me to put a full stop at that point. However, do join Fred Njeri on Morning Live tomorrow from 7 a.m. as they'll be taking a look at what is making headlines across the country. Believe me when I tell you that the newspapers will be quite full of a flurry of activities, from the schools reopening to the 4 individuals who had been abducted and have finally been released. So that and much more discussions will be happening right here in this studio on Morning Live tomorrow. But for now, have yourself a wonderful night. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. God bless.